Hello and welcome to Let Me Be Your Game Guide, a podcast that spends each episode delving into a mystical new video game, exploring its terms and challenges, and helping you decide if it should be next on your list. I'm your host, Emma.
This is Rylan.
And this is Shawn.
Join us for this week's discussion episode as we escape reality and enter the metaphysical. For the remainder of this episode, let me be your game guide.
Shawn, did you notice that when she started reading the intro, like a cloud went over the sun and things got serious in here?
Yeah. It got real dark in here and the lights kind of grew a little bit. And I was like, whoa.
Scary.
Yeah, it kind of was.
Yeah. It's like
But
the
it's
spotlight turned.
Hello and welcome to Let Me
Yeah.
It's time to get serious. It's time to podcast.
Yeah. It's time to keep podcasting.
Keep podcasting.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's still the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's still the morning. Yeah.
podcast. Yeah,
Mhm.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a part 2 episode.
Of keep driving.
Yeah.
Spoiling it.
Yeah.
We're spoiling it.
We're talking about our adventures and all the things.
So
Yeah.
excited to hear about your guys' adventures.
Yeah. me too.
If you didn't listen to our last episode and you're confused, just rewind. We give more of a description of like the mechanics of the game and our true feelings of all the different aspects like plot and music and all that sort of stuff. We will go over our final ratings at the beginning here, just as a reminder. I gave the game a 4.5.
4.2.
Ditto. 2. 4.2.
2. So yeah, we liked this game.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we're just gonna talk about our actual gameplay and what happened on our adventures as we were driving to the festival and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Or misadventures
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good point.
I had quite a few of those.
I
Yeah.
also had some of those. So
So do you guys want to start?
sure.
Excuse me.
Do you want to start?
No, go for it.
Okay. So my drive, I actually had 2 runs. So my first,
You had 2 runs, you liar.
I had 2 runs. My first run ended very quickly, similar to your last run, but it was on my own accord. So
what happened?
my first run, I start driving. I hear that music, and I'm like, "Fuck yeah, this is awesome!" Like I'm so pumped for this. And my first
Road event?
road event was a hitchhiker. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna pick up a hitchhiker. This is amazing. So I pick up this hitchhiker. Let me look at my notes and see if I remember if I put the name in there. No, I did put good road trip music. I found myself excited like I would be on a road trip. You know, when you first start, like
Yeah.
you're pumped and ready. I don't remember what I picked. I don't remember the person I picked up, but the hitchhiker I picked up immediately was like, man, this car sucks. And I was like, oh, okay. So I turned off the side of the road and I kicked him out. I'm like, fuck you, guy. Like,
Hell yeah.
I'm giving you a ride. And then it was like, oh, do you want to start over? And I'm like, yeah, I probably do want to start over. Like, that wasn't a good start. So I restarted. I only got on the first road and then,
Oh my
I
God.
restarted.
Wait, it asked you if you wanted to start over?
Yeah, well, it came up with the prompts of like, like check engine or keep driving or that kind of thing. And so in my mind, I thought, oh, that's the end of the game. Like I messed up because I didn't complete their
Oh.
mission.
Did you run out of gas or dirt? No.
So just for kicking them out?
Yeah, just for kicking them out. I did that.
Weird.
And so I think it's because I failed whatever mission they had. But I failed other side missions before. It wasn't that big of a deal. So,
Yeah, that's bizarre.
but I saw that. I thought that was a restart for me. I didn't realize that was like, oh, I could keep going kind of
Yeah,
thing. So I think it was
yeah.
my own misunderstanding. So then I started my next one. And I picked up a couple hitchhikers along the way. The first one was a guy named The Suit. And the suit was he looked like a tired businessman. He had, a suit, no jacket, but just the button up and a tie that was kind of loosened up. He had a suitcase and he's tired of his job. He's running away from his family. He's done. He's just leaving.
Nice.
So he jumps in and he had some great skills that were pretty helpful. One of them was if you can only use it once per rest, but if you use it, you can get out of everything.
Whoa.
At level 3, if you come to level 3, you could get out of everything. One event, just completely
Wow.
out of. You had to use, I think, 2 gas to get out of it, but that was the
Nice.
thing. So that was really nice if you're like really stuck or you're kind of low on things and you just need to get through this to get to the town. That was helpful. Another person that I picked up along the route was the idiot.
I loved the idiot.
The idiot was so fun. So the idiot had a couple of different abilities, and one of them was that he had OCD. So he would organize your symbols,
Yeah.
so that way they were all in the same order. But his story was actually pretty sad. He had a story of his sister who passed away, and you had to take him to the funeral.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, he's like, I just kind of want to hang out and like, let's do this adventure. And I'm like, sweet.
Oh,
like,
that's cool.
Come on, man, let's do it. So he joined, and then the last person that I actually put in my car was it was a woman who had ran away from her wedding, but I forget the actual
was it
name.
the bride?
The bride, yeah. I got the bride, and she's like running away. She's, trying to run away from her wedding. And so she jokes around for a little while, but then I screwed up on her side mission and she left. So
she actually left.
yeah, she totally just
Interesting.
dipped out. And
What
so
is her side mission?
I think it was to go.
You have to show her a good time.
Yeah.
So she just wants like an adventure. So you have to during a road event, like do the like speed away from a road event.
Okay.
So you have to do that. You have to drink and drive, or you have to have a drink with her.
Oh.
So that was the drinking. I talked about this in our last episode, but that was the first reason that I drank and drove. And there's one more, so there's 3 things. I can't remember what the third one is.
I think is it get relaxed? Because that was one of them that I had. And
Oh,
then I
yeah.
smoked some of that wacky tobacco. And
Oh,
that got me
interesting.
relaxed,
I
so.
stayed at a hotel.
Oh, nice. That's a
So-
good way to relax.
Yeah. So that was how I finished her side mission. And just she ends up going back to her family after that.
Oh.
If you finish the side mission.
She just
So
needed to have a lark and
she just needed a good time.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just needed to get out one more time before she settled down.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I drove around. Once I completed the idiot side quest, I then did the suits. The suit decided he wanted to go back to his daughter and see his family again. You drive him back there, which is a little farther south. So I started a little high and then northeast, I guess. And then I went southwest, and then I went back to the festival. So, which is on the very east side of the map. I dropped off the idiot on the day he was supposed to be there. So
Oh,
like in the
perfect.
morning, pulled in, got him there. Awesome. I start driving back to the festival. I pick him back up. He's like, he's like, well, second chances didn't really work out. So I'm just going to hang out with you. I'm like, okay, cool. So he hopped back in the car.
Wow.
Yeah. The next route back up, I caught him. I was like, okay.
Immediately.
Yeah. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I got you. So
I liked having him in my car because I liked the conversation that he would have. He'd bring up like really weird things too, just like he had kind of just like random facts that he would talk about. But he also he had flowers with him, and he would add like a flower like decal on the inside of the car.
Yeah.
So there was
Oh.
like flowers all around the windows. I didn't
notice that. I had the idiot as well for a little bit.
I didn't like his like, what are they called? His abilities. I didn't use
skills.
his skills.
Yeah.
I didn't use them at all. So I only had him on my first playthrough, but I kept him in the car for the whole time.
Yeah, I kept him in the car. I was just like, I'll use your stuff every once in a while. And I used it every once in a while, and that was kind of it. But there was a couple other hitchhikers that I drove past. I did not pick up. One of them was the convict. I did not pick up the convict because you couldn't have anybody sitting next to him. And at the time, I had 3 hitchhikers already. So I was like, oh, never mind.
Yeah.
There was also another person. I think it was the rocker or something, where he had a dog.
The punk.
Yeah,
The punk, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was gonna get him, but I also had 3 people in my car, and I felt weird kicking one of them out. Like I felt committed to having them in my car once I got them in my car.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you're a part of me now. You're a part of my
Yeah.
tribe. We're gonna get through this together, kind
Yeah.
of thing. So I was like, never mind. I like the dog, but no.
I did the same thing. The dog guy came to me like at the very end of my run, and I was like, I just don't have room. Like I
Yeah.
want the dog so badly, but it just like I literally had like one stop before the end of the game, so it's like it's not worth it.
Don't
Yeah.
worry. I had a run where they were the first people I picked up.
Nice.
So I'll tell you all about it.
Nice. The last thing is, did you guys go see Grandma?
No.
Oh, you'll have to tell me how that was then, because I went and saw Grandma, and she writes a note to you after you see her, and she says, thanks for coming, blah blah blah. I'm not doing very well, but I took a picture of the note that she sends back to you, and it says, "Hi dear, thank you for coming by to the hospital. I'm always happy to see you. I love you with all my life. The land is out in the country. Take the country roads, then the dirt path until you see just beyond the heath a patch of land with a little cottage. That's it. It's yours now. Lots of love forever, Grandma. So you can go to the land that she purchased for you and you can start something, which I didn't do, but you can do that.
Oh.
So
That was my surprise ending.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.
I was like, well, I got to check out my new land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I drove all the way back there, and then it was like, that was one of the endings.
Oh, that's so cool,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah. So I'll tell you guys a little bit more about it when we go through my runs. But yeah, I was like, oh. And that was my first ending too. So I was like, oh, okay. So we don't have to go to the festival. There's kind of like other things that we can do instead.
Yeah. Okay, so after that, I went to the festival, and admittedly, in the time of the game, you start and you have about a month to get to the festival. So you have plenty of time to do a lot of different things. I stopped about, I think it was June 15th. So I was about halfway through the month. So you still have a lot of time to go drive around, go do different adventures, that kind of thing. When I got to the festival, they were like, you meet your friends, you hang out at some of the places that, you listen to some of the bands you like. And that was kind of it. It was kind of just meh, because I only played for so long. So,
yeah.
But that was my run. I will say that if you want to play this game at night, your hitchhikers are unavailable. They're sleeping. So once it hits nighttime, you're kind of solo. So just a heads up if you're playing.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind. You won't have their abilities.
They wake up sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes if it's serious, I guess, things. But
I only noticed that happening once. I didn't play a ton at night,
man.
but I think at least the one hitchhiker who had for most of my run, I think he was awake a lot of the time at night. So it might depend on the hitchhiker.
And sometimes it'll be like part of the road event is like all your hitchhikers are asleep.
Yeah.
And then the next one they'll be awake. So
Yeah.
I found that they were asleep sometimes, but sometimes they were awake.
yeah.
So it's funny because they would all have sleeping masks.
Yeah.
over their eyes.
Little pink sleeping mask.
Yeah, so funny. So yeah, it was a great time. A lot of different road events, a lot of different things. Almost ran out of gas once. Had to buy a jerry can with the last bit of money I had to like make it. So it worked out. But yeah, the game's it's really fun. I'm down to play more because it's just been a blast. So yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also did the festival ending. That was kind of like when you first start up the game, that's like the goal that they present you with. But you have to like stop at a big city and buy a ticket and then make your way to the festival, which is on the complete other side of the map from where you start.
Yeah.
So for me, I was like, well, I need like a midway destination. Like I'm not just going to go do that. So I identified at the southernmost point on the map, I think it's called Vinga. There's a little town down there. It's only one way in and out. So it's not like you just do it on your way. But it had a question mark icon. So I'm like, that's about halfway-ish. So like, I'm just going to check that out. Like that's just going to be the first half of my adventure is go check out what Vinga is.
Yeah.
So pretty quickly on, I picked up the Stranger. That's the name of this hitchhiker, and he is like I don't know, he's kind of a weird dude.
Was he kind of like a gambler?
Yeah, he was a gambler guy.
Yeah.
So what he would do is every time you stop at a city, I think, he would spend some of your money for gambling. So you might just lose the money, but you also might gain money.
Oh yeah.
So I had this interesting thing where like a lot of my run, I either had like no money or plenty of money.
That's how I felt like even without that
Okay,
guy.
yeah.
I was definitely in that ebb and flow. Like I'd have to, in the game, there's employment offices where you can go and make money and work jobs.
Yeah.
And I'd have to like stay there for like a day or two and work every job just to get enough money to keep going. So yeah.
But his abilities were only okay. They were a little bit situational because a lot of them had to do with money. But he did have a really nice ability, or a couple abilities that he got. One was he could change every attacking car or every attacking symbol into money. And then he had a different ability that you spend $10, which is kind of a bummer to use it, but it will remove a random icon. And if that icon was money, then it'll do it again.
Oh.
So if you have like a bunch of things attacking, you can use those two to like take out almost every icon or every icon depending on the situation.
Yeah.
But it was kind of expensive. That $10 was a big ask.
Yeah, for sure.
Did the loan sharks ever come?
The
for
loan
you?
sharks do come for you
Yeah.
also.
Oh.
Sometimes when you're leaving town, you have an extra event where the loan sharks are trying to get you.
Oh, I never had that.
Yeah. Well, I think it's specific to this guy because he owed money
Oh, sure.
from all of his gambling.
Yeah, they're chasing after him.
This was also the fellow that was creepy.
Oh,
So
sure.
his like, because all these hitchhikers, they have like abilities that they gain as you like give them more experience, spend more time with them.
Yeah, they each get 3 levels max. So.
Yeah, and each one is like a skill that you can use when you're doing these road events, but they also have like a bad thing. Some of them are pretty minor, but like his third one was that he's creepy, which I was like, God, why am I having this creepy guy? But it just meant if I had any women hitchhikers, they wouldn't level up at all.
Yeah.
Which I was like, okay, well, I don't have any other hitchhikers, so he can stay with me, I guess. Even though I was a little bit creeped out.
I had that same situation with, I think the suit has the same thing where he has a thing where if there's other hitchhikers in the car, they won't get as much experience as he does.
Interesting.
So,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, similar, I guess, in a sense, but.
Yeah, so I was just having a really good time at the start of this game, like trying different things, buying stuff. I got the trait of a smoker because I used those cigarettes
Me
from the
too.
glove box all the
So
time.
Annoying.
And then I would always buy more from the convenience store. And I didn't know that I was going to get a trait for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense, but there's just so many things in this game that it's like, oh, depending on like how you behave, it changes aspects of it.
Well, and it was so clever too because it was like the more cigarettes you smoke, you get that trait, and now you're using 2 cigarettes
Instead of one.
Instead of
every time.
one.
Yeah.
And there's actually a third level where you start using 3 cigarettes.
Really?
Yes.
Dang.
Oh, because after that, I was like, well, I'll just buy a different item that does that for my glove box.
I just kept smoking cigarettes.
So I eventually made it down to Vinga, and on my way, I was hitting every exploration site along the way, and most of them were like outdoor adventures that you could have. And I thought it was really clever that most of these places you can get like an item out of, but if you had a specific item in your inventory, like a rope or like a knife to cut through vines or something like that, or a flashlight for a cave, you could go find more items, which was really fun. At Vinga, there's this lighthouse.
Oh.
And that's the thing that's there. The only thing that you do with it is like an introspection event.
Yeah.
I don't know if either of you guys went here,
I did.
and it's like, what would life be like to be to run a lighthouse?
Yeah.
And I don't remember what I chose, but it made me stressed.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever I chose also made me stressed. I was like,
feels
God
so
damn it.
lonely. So I was like, okay, cool. Like my whole summer adventure so far is like, we're going here. We're going to see what's there.
Yeah.
Now I'm stressed. Cool.
Yeah.
So I was just driving back. But the next like kind of goal that I went for was the big race.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Did you guys attempt that?
I did.
I did
Yeah.
not. I got the quest, but I didn't do it.
Yeah, so there's a big race that's happening, also kind of in the southern part of the map. And since I was down there, I was like, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
You have to get a roll cage for your car, and then you have to, show up at the race and participate. And it's basically there's just like a series of pretty tough events. You have to do like 6 or something, like
Yeah.
tough events. Did you beat it?
I did because
Oh, really?
this is another ending.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
But you don't get your hitchhikers in the car.
No.
So you have to be really specific about the abilities that you have.
Yeah.
Because the first time I attempted it, I didn't really realize what I was doing. So I was like low on gas,
Yep.
didn't fix my car, didn't buy any like snacks or anything to like help. Oh, so stupid.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I assumed that there would be like challenges like road events, but I did not know it was going to be that brutal.
It was intense.
I'm pretty sure I made it to the last one, but there was like no chance. I had like 1 skill use left on my last one.
Oh, yeah.
After that, I was like destitute. My character was sad.
Oh, no.
So I couldn't take any extra turns. And because of that, like all my other road events were so hard, and I had like no durability or gas or money left. I was just struggling hard for like 2 days before I could make it to an employment office.
Dang.
I had to sell my guitar that I started with. I chose the starter package with like a guitar and like beer or something.
Oh, nice one.
I in my head I was like, this is sweet. Like I'm gonna take my guitar to the festival.
Yeah.
I sold my
jam
guitar.
Oh.
I got to an antique store because those things you could sell your items for like the regular price instead of the half price. And I was like, I have to do this. Like,
Yeah.
So I was feeling really low about my trip.
Dang.
So I took some odd jobs. I painted my car,
Oh,
Monster Warrior.
Oh, I did too, so I could get the
So
money.
you get the money. Yeah. You go do an ad shoot
Yeah.
with your car like that says Monster Warrior on it.
Yeah.
I went and did that. I did some other odd jobs. And then I was like, okay, now I've got some money. Like it's time to get back to the mission. Somewhere along the way, I picked up the idiot as well.
Yeah.
But he wanted me to go to the other side of the map. And I was like, no, I need to keep going. Like,
Yeah.
So since I had money again, I was on my way back to the festival. I bought an electric guitar
Nice.
and an amp.
Nice.
And I thought to myself, like, what's going to happen at the festival? Like, this big race had all these events. Like, what if I need to have instruments in my bag? Like, maybe I can play at the festival. Like, how cool would that be? That didn't end up happening. There's like nothing that happens at the festival, but I thought like that was just another example of like cool stories that you make up yourself in this game. Like my character like had these dreams of like, yeah, I'll get some equipment. Like I'll go to the festival, I'll be something, you know?
Yeah.
So that was just like a little fun side thing that I had going on in my own head. I picked up the Bride with 2 stops left before the festival. And then I didn't pick up the Punk because there was only 1 stop left.
Yeah.
But I didn't see a lot of hitchhikers until like that very last stretch of things.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I would get them. It was pretty sporadic, honestly. Like maybe once every 4 or 5 roads, I think I would get one.
My first playthrough, I didn't see very many. I saw them in the beginning and then I filled my car. And then my second playthrough, I had switched vehicles, so I only had 2 seats. And I was like, that's fine. Like, I don't mind having just like 2 hitchhikers. But then the first person I picked up was the Punk and his dog.
Oh, yeah.
And so
That's sweet.
I saw a lot, and I swear this was the run that I saw the most hitchhikers. So I wrote down all of the hitchhikers I saw, but I didn't pick up any of them because I wanted to complete this storyline with the Punk and his dog. So
yeah.
That's pretty much what happened in my whole journey, to keep it brief. But I also had the grandma event, but I didn't attend. I didn't get there fast enough. Basically, I was too busy like doing the race, and it was like the day after the race, I got the letter that's like she didn't make it.
Oh my God.
But I still had the opportunity to go to the land. So I still inherited the land, even though I didn't get it.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
The only other thing that I wrote down that I thought was funny was I became a vegetarian. Via introspection. I had an event that's like, should I become a vegetarian? And I was like, sure, why not? And then it's like, trait, you're a vegetarian now.
Oh, man.
Which means that eating vegetarian foods would restore more energy, which was pretty sick. So then I was done playing for the day. Next time I played, I was like, oh, pepperoni pizza? Hell yeah. Lost vegetarian.
No.
Oh,
So I was vegetarian for like 24 hours. But isn't that like,
that's so cool.
That's so 19-year-old summer though.
Oh,
like, I want to be a vegetarian. And it's like, oh, nah.
Pepperoni.
I kind of forgot about the vegetarian thing.
yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's so funny. Yeah, it's interesting like what you can get on the road, like different items and things. Cause like I stopped at like there's an event where something will be on the side of the road. It's like a suitcase or something.
Yeah.
Or a broken down car. And you can
rate it?
Yeah, you can like rifle through it and like figure I got a stove out of a car one time. I'm like, this is sweet. So I pulled that out and then I can start cooking food. And I'm like, whoa, this is a game changer.
Yeah.
Like
there were certain foods that you had to have a stove to be able to like eat them.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm not buying a stove. Like, fuck that. I'm not doing that. But I'll get one for free. Sure.
Inventory space was such a premium for me.
Yeah.
I think because I had my guitar for so long too, it takes up
like 8 spots or
Yeah.
something, right?
Maybe even 10. It's long.
Yeah.
It's huge. So I got like a rack on top of my car that held more stuff. That was sweet.
Yeah, I got the tent cargo thing so that way you could sleep in
nice.
that. So with a sleeping bag. So that worked out. But
I was also thinking that there might be something at the festival with music, like if you had instruments, because there's so many instruments you can find in this game.
Yeah.
I went into the woods and I found a porn magazine and a trumpet.
Oh,
Nice.
maybe we should have
perfect
older kids
pair.
play this.
Oh, that's awesome. So I did 4 runs. I got 4 different endings. Let me read all the possible endings, and then I'll tell you which ones that I got. I think we've talked about 3 of them already.
Yeah.
So the first is failure. I didn't get that one, but I would assume that if you run out of gas or energy and you don't have the ability to continue, then that is a failure.
Yep.
The festival, which I think we all did. Jail, which I did. That was my last run. I went to jail.
What a good summer.
Nice.
Top of the World was one that I didn't do, but I got the quest for it.
What is that?
So I had picked up a hitchhiker on my first run, and he was called the Hiker. I only had him for 1 stop because I picked him up and he's like, I need to go here. And it was literally the next stop. And I was like, great. Went to the next stop. There's a huge mountain there. And he gives you this quest to travel all the way up the mountain. But before you go up, you have to get a jerry can, you have to get a toolbox. And I think the tough thing about going up the mountain is it's a bunch of stops, like in a circular, like a spiral, until you get to the very top. And so you have to make sure that you have enough equipment with you.
And supplies to make it all the way to the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't do that one, but then after finishing one of my endings, I saw it and I was like, oh, that could have been an ending.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then there's the Great Race, which is the racing one that Rylan attempted, and then I did. I did fail the first time, and then I tried again.
It was tough.
It was very hard, and I think the only reason that I won was because I had a special ability that I had unlocked. It was pretty late in the game. That if you got perfect by using that ability, it gave all of your other abilities like one extra use.
Oh,
and
that's
so,
handy.
Yes.
That's
so
needed.
It was like the very last thing I was able to get a perfect on it because I was about to be out of all my stuff. And it was just like, it was perfect.
Yeah.
But it was hard. And then Rehab is an ending. I'm not sure how you get Rehab.
Probably.
Ruh-roh.
Hard Worker is an ending that I don't know how to get. The Cabin is an ending that I don't know how to get. And then Inheritance is the ending where you go and you see your land that you got from your grandma. So those were the endings that I got. My runs, so the first one was I ended in Inheritance. So, but the people that I picked up, I started with the Idiot. And he would just say, like, I just loved the stuff he said. And I may have quoted this a little wrong because the words went away too quick, but he said, "Your car feels like memories filled with only the future." And I was like, "Aw," because he was talking about how he was always stuck in the past. And then how, because he had been driving with me so long, I had taken him to the funeral, or just for me it was like I think he went to just visit his sister's grave.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if it may have been a funeral. I may have missed that.
At mine there was like a bunch of people and stuff. So I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, it was like a
interesting. Yeah, for me I just dropped him off at like a grave site, and then he just said that he wanted to stay with me. So he hung out. I picked up the Sleeper, and this was a guy who would randomly fall asleep all the time. And the longer that he's in your car, he starts telling you why. And it sounds like he had like a really traumatic childhood. And so he would get panic attacks. And then he just, as he grew older, he started falling asleep. And that was like his body's response to avoid panic attacks. And so that was his deal. I had him in my car for a really long time. So the longer you had these people in your car, if they had a backstory at all, and especially if you had multiple hitchhikers, I feel like you got a lot more story from them.
Yeah.
So the Idiot and the Sleeper, both of their abilities I didn't really like and I didn't really use. I don't really think that I used any abilities in my first run, really.
No.
Because none of my hitchhikers were that great.
Yeah. Same.
I picked up the Kid.
What?
Which was a child.
What? It's kind of weird.
A little girl on the side of the road. She was lost. She had gotten off the train. She was trying to go see her dad, and she didn't know where her dad lived. So you have the kid.
Police?
Yeah.
You have the kid in your car, and she gives you an address. She's like, "Oh, he lives here." And so you go and you take her there, and he's not there. And she's like, "Oh shoot, he must have moved." And she's like, "I swear." She's like, "I swear I have his address." And she's like digging through her bag, trying to find the address. And then eventually you come across at one of the diners where you can find the like
bulletin
boards. There's one of like a missing child, and it's her. And so you figure out where her family actually is. And then I took her to that place, dropped her off with her family, and then she leaves you with her stuffed animal, and that's the item that you can use you can hug the stuffed animal, and it gives you the happy trait.
That's cool.
That's cool. Yeah.
You didn't drunk drive with her in the car,
No,
did you? Okay.
no, I did not.
Okay.
But yeah, so then I picked up the hiker. Like I said, he was in the car for like one stop, and then he got out. I picked up the Hurricane. This was a girl. I can't remember really what her story was.
Early 20s.
Yeah,
just
did you get the
going
hurricane
wild.
as well?
No, I'm just
okay.
guessing here.
Because it was something like that.
Yeah.
Because I picked up her, and then I picked up another girl that was very similar called the Girl, and she was more like hippie vibes, like free love. I don't know. I
Just a
ended up kicking her out because she was very polarizing.
Oh.
Like she
Oh.
gave you her abilities were really, really good, but her negatives were also really, really bad.
Oh, interesting.
After
Oh.
every single road event, she would add a negative ability or like a
status?
negative status.
The,
Yeah, so
the
you
hippie
get
girl?
so you'd get hungry or
Oh.
you'd get tired. The hurricane would randomly leave trash in your car. So you'd randomly have like empty beer cans. And that wasn't bad. You could just get rid of that
That's
stuff.
fun.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so those were all of the people that I picked up on my first run.
Nice.
My second run, I used the truck because I unlocked the truck
Yeah.
after my first run. And you get so much trunk space. It's amazing, but you can only pick up 2 hitchhikers. And so I was like, that's fine. But I picked up the punk and he comes with the dog.
Yeah.
And so
Hell
then
yeah.
both spots were taken and I was like, well,
Worth it.
yeah,
Yeah.
unless I get someone that's like way more interesting, you guys are just going to be in my car. And so the punk's trying to go to the city. He's trying to kind of get away from this country life where I've picked him up from. I can't remember exactly what he's trying to do. Maybe go play in a band. I can't remember. But he was in my car like our whole drive. I stopped by the convict, the stranger, the idiot, the suit, and the songwriter. I
Oh.
didn't pick up any of them,
Yeah.
but because I wanted to keep the punk. And that run through, I got to the city. I got mugged.
Oh, man.
And when we're in the city, the punk is like, "Thank you so much for bringing me here. Like, I just need to find this like one club. Like, I'm trying to get into this club." And you have to go on like one of those exploration
Oh, yeah.
things. And I actually didn't have, I can't remember what I needed. There was like an item that I needed to go buy. I needed a crowbar.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I searched everywhere in this alleyway and I couldn't find what he needed. And but there was one place I couldn't go. So I ended up getting a crowbar, going back in. I found the club. And then he asked me to watch his dog. So then you keep the dog after he goes.
Just for the rest of the
Yeah,
game?
for the rest of the
Oh.
game.
Fun. What's the dog's name?
It didn't have a name, I don't think.
That's weird.
Or maybe
Yeah.
it did and I forgot.
Sure.
Um,
Sorry to put you on the
no,
spot.
that's okay. But the dog also had abilities. So once you leveled the punk all the way up, then it started leveling up the dog.
What?
Oh, cool.
And so the dog had really good ability, not good abilities, but it was just like very basic. Like it was just like 1 green, 1 orange, and 1 blue. And you got like 3 or 5 uses on each one.
That's solid, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
it
solid.
was just like one was like bark, one was pet, and I can't remember what the other one was. So yeah, and then from that little city, I just had 3 stops up to the festival, and then yeah, so
with your new dog.
yeah, I took the dog to the festival with me,
Cool.
and I actually have pictures of the endings that I got. So for inheritance, it said, you end up building a small house on the plot of land that your grandmother left you. The pride of having made yourself and honoring her memory fades eventually, and you grow tired of the repairs and being so isolated. You think, one day, when I'm old, I'll move back to the country. Oh, no, back out to the country. Yeah.
That's nice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then, yeah, so I drove for 2,071 kilometers for inheritance. I was studying, living with my parents. I gave some money to a guy who needed it. An old hiker and I went to the mountain camp. I ended up getting a bit annoyed by this girl, but I had to cut my trip short because my grandma died. So that was the little description for that one.
Oh, interesting.
That's cool that it incorporated like elements of your journey.
Yeah.
And then for the festival, it says, the hours pass, you drink, sing, dance, and enjoy the new bands you were excited to see. You are whirled from one scene to another, unaware of the passage of time, as you suddenly find yourself packing up your camp again. The memories, not yet formed, last you a lifetime, develop into a kaleidoscope of sunshine, warm beer, and constant noise. And then my notes for the festival, I drove 2,353 kilometers. At this time, I was unemployed. I really looked forward to sleeping in my bed again. A punk left me his dog. My appetite was insane. In the end, I met up with my friends at the festival, and that was because I ate too much junk food, and
You
I
became
got
a glutton?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got that too.
so annoying.
Yeah, I had
Those
some
convenience stores were really convenient.
Yes.
hot chicken wings, and then bam, all of a sudden,
Yeah. And then my third run through was not. This was the one where I got the road race, or whatever, the big race. The first hitchhiker I picked up was the kid again. I did that whole mission. Then I picked up the bride. I was driving drunk, and I was like, "This is a bad idea." It stressed me out a lot. Go back to our last episode if you want to hear about the mechanics for driving drunk. Then I picked up the mechanic. The mechanic was great. Basically,
Sounds
your car
useful.
would
Yeah.
never break. I didn't finish his mission, but he wanted to like really like buy all the stuff for your car and make it like amazing.
That's cool.
Um,
I started off as a mechanic, so that's why I was like,
Oh.
whatever. So I got the jerry can and the toolbox when I
Yeah.
started. So
yeah. So he was trying to like, I don't know, with in addition to the roll cage, he wanted to add like a bunch of other stuff. But I ended up just going to the big race and doing that. I did pick up the stranger, and I had loan sharks come after me. I picked up the girl again. Well, actually, I saw the girl, but I abandoned her because I was like, no, I don't want your shit.
yeah.
And then I picked up the convict at the very, very end because I really just wanted to see what would happen.
Yeah.
Nothing happened. I didn't have him in my car long enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then I did the big race. And the ending for that one says, "You couldn't believe it. You win. It took some grit and a bit of skill, but mostly just guts. Enjoy it while you can. The chance might never come again." And then my notes for the great race. I drove 2,135 kilometers. I was working at the local garage, met a runaway bride and helped her have fun, kicked out a real creep from my car. That's who I kicked out to let the convict in. I grew as a person. It really inspired me. Then, out of curiosity, I took part in a race and won.
Very cool.
Yeah. And then my last run, the one I did this morning, was literally 5 minutes. I
I got a
Started with the
DUI.
beer.
That was my
Yep,
summer.
started with the beer, and then I got pulled over. And so I got a mugshot.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. And it says, "The hearing took 10 hours. You were bored out of your mind. You pleaded not guilty. The late summer sun cast brownish shades as the jury stared at you, equally as bored. You end up spending 3 months in prison before making bail. Your parents are ashamed but happy you're home again. Life goes on." And the notes for this one: I drove for 55 kilometers. At this time, I was unemployed. I was so poor. I drove so badly the car actually broke. Eventually, I fucked up and ended up in jail. So, yeah. Those were my endings.
It's a short game.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, those were all my endings. I had a ton of fun with this game. I really think you should check it out.
Yeah,
Anyone
this
who's
is a good
listening,
one.
Go
Yeah.
check it out. Yep. Did you guys have anything else you wanted to talk about before we close out?
I wrote, picked up the idiot who had flowers for his sister, but I'm concerned for his safety because he just looks so innocent,
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, he did.
oh goodness.
I found a VW bus and they gave me a music CD.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
that guy, isn't he? He's like, "I'm too old to do that festival thing anymore."
Well, it was. I think so. Yeah, I think he's. And then he gives you. I got fucking werewolf Asso from that
I think
guy.
that's who.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, that's cool. But it was interesting because when you go through the towns and stuff, like you can talk to people in the town. They'll tell you about like stories and stuff.
Yeah.
yeah,
And there's these two old guys that were like, oh, do you remember? Like they told their road trip stories. Like, oh, do you remember when we
Oh,
picked up
that's
that
fun.
convict and like we had to go around and we went to this big festival and that kind of thing. Like I remember when I was young, and they're like older guys now.
Yeah.
And so it was really interesting to get their perspective and just like, just real stories in the city. So yeah, it was
Cool.
fun. But I don't think I have anything else, but you should pick it up. It's
Yeah.
a lot of fun.
Mhm.
And I mean, even with the 4 or 9 hours, I mean, you could put another 15,
I
20
could
into it.
yeah, I
So,
could definitely play another 9 hours, 10 hours.
Yeah. just to get all the endings. So
Yeah, I'm excited to give this one some more time and also just to see what they do with it in the future because I think it's
Yes.
like such a yes.
Yeah.
We need more stuff.
It has
Yeah.
so
Keep
much
adding on to
promise.
it. Yeah.
Like,
For
thank you.
sure.
truly.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, this concludes the discussion episode for Keep Driving. Please join us next week for our rating episode of This Bed We Made. Rylan, this is your pick.
Ooh.
It will be followed by its discussion episode the week after. Please go and give the podcast a follow, rate it, review it, however you want to show us love. You can email us with any comments, questions, or constructive criticism at letmebeyourgg@gmail.com. You can also send us game requests if there's something you'd like us to review. Just make sure you include game request in the subject line so it's easy for us to find. You can find us on most socials as Let Me Be Your GG. That's LetMeBeyourGG, no spaces. And we're on Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. You can find us on TikTok as Let Me Be Your Game Guide. Our Patreon can be found at patreon.com/LetMeBeYourGG. Thank you so much for listening. We can't wait to see you next week. And thank you so much for letting me be your game guide. GG, y'all.
Bye.
Round 2.
Let's do it.
two.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
Okay. All right.
Keep podcasting.